All right, all right, all right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna, and I pray everybody is doing well. I pray everybody is doing well. It looked like, say, Wednesday has become the impromptu live night. I'm rolling with it, and we're gonna see, right? I got a little short presentation. Then we're gonna open up the line, one and two conversation, and I sleep, me say. Because I be bleaching on these lives. You understand? So today is Trouble in Paradise. And why is today Trouble in Paradise, peoples? Why is today Trouble in Paradise? Well, we've been doing a lot of reading. We have been doing a lot of reading, I say. And yeah, just so many things keep coming up. Welcome to everybody who's just joined us. So many of these little pieces, and shout out to all the new subscribers, the supporters. You know, you just provide me with the extra boost what I and I need. I'm going on my Rasta man talk now. My Empress talk. You give me the boost what I need for kind of go deeper. And so I got a tip. And I said, read this article. And I'm like, I'm getting a lot of tips. I can't read everything. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go read this article. Missy, when me read the article, we have to go backtrack now. So we're going to go in right now. I'm giving people a little time to roll in while I'm a little tired today. So, it's going to be okay though. We're going to move through this information real nice and quick like. So with that said, welcome to everybody who has just joined us. And let's go ahead and get into this whole situation. Because I didn't pull in, if them never go do the One Love movie, would we be here? Would we be here? It was all left on record. And as a researcher, I am a researcher of my own lineage, of information in general. You understand me? I say, so them go give me a tip and now me have to go research the thing. You understand? But respectfully, you know what I mean? So to those who just joined us, welcome. Let's go ahead and get into this here conversation. So let me move this. Trouble in Paradise. Why is the moon up with all of these salacious titles? What do you mean trouble in paradise? I'm getting a little bit of, a little bit of pushback. If you notice, let me take off this. I don't really, welcome. I don't really, they say, why I'm gonna now come on camera today? No, but I don't really, I don't do gossip, peoples. So if I say something, you can almost believe it's either a theory that's based on some facts or some straight up facts, because I don't do gossip. I really don't have that type of time. I don't have that type of time. So with that said, we're gonna, you found the open letter the open letter to Bunny. I'm saving that because it's like this. Before I go into it, somebody's yelling and screaming. Even we come from a culture where you will hear cuss cuss, but you don't know what it's about, right? You will hear cuss cuss, and underneath it is anger, underneath it is fear, underneath it it's someone is offended, but you don't hear all of those parts because for the most part, the culture is not open to soft emotional feelings of, you know what, you hurt me, or I felt violated. When that level of emotional intelligence, I'm not saying across the board, I'm not speaking in across the board, but I'm saying it has been my experience that conversation more than so doesn't happen. What happens is we love big, and then when we get offended, we quarrel big. And so what people, the onlookers, may come and hear the quarrel, but you don't know what the quarrel is about. And that's what Bunny Wailer's open letter came across as to me. I'm like, does Bunny have belly? This sound like Bunny have belly for Rita. But then I'm like, but why would Bunny have belly? That brings us to tonight. Now that we've read the DOJ Bob Marley thing that brought up more questions than answers, right? I wanted to go in the genesis, not the exodus, the genesis of their relationship, because I think in there is where some of the confusion may lie, and it may give us some answers as to why Bunny was all the way in his feelings. Like, what was that about? Okay. I even had to go into writing notes today because when I get tired, I don't like to misspeak. So today I actually did a little outline so that I could stay on track. All right. So with that said, we're going to first come from, because you don't know, we got to get sourced up, people. We got to get sourced up. So we are going to be coming from we're going to be coming from, and then I'm gonna come to the comments in a section. We're gonna come from Rita's book real quick. But we're gonna be like Hansel and Gretel in the wilderness right now. We're gonna be taking up the pieces of crumbs because Rita was dropping crumbs. Rita was dropping crumbs. But if we don't know context, it's like your grandparents would I talk, are your parents, but you don't know context. So you're like, what are they talking about? They will just say key things, only people who were there will know. So, personal experience, real quick. When I was doing the research for my own family history, and I did write a book, I had to pull it because I had some finishing touches to do. But when I had to interview my parents, when I had to interview, they spoke in riddles. My parents are the same generation as Bob and Rita. They spoke in riddles. I'm like, what are you talking about? When I had to interview my grandparents, my grandmother's more forthcoming. My grandfather, he speaks in riddles. I'm like, making references to things that may have changed the course of their life, but they're not articulated in the way that it can be comprehensive for us to be like, oh, okay, so that's what happened. I think that's what's happening. And because I did the process in my own life, I kind of think I see what's happening now. Without further ado, make we jump into Rita. Let me I forgot from outline peoples. What I want to say before I start is that give them some grace. Let me put up a picture of when they were young because we got to give them some grace. They were, and I wrote their ages at the time. Okay. I wrote their ages at the time. We're going to give them some grace. I'm going to put them back up on the screen just for a second so that we can look at them and give them some grace right now. All right. This is young Rita. In the back, you see young Bunny, not Bunny. Bunny's not in the picture. We see young Peter, young Bob, young Rita. Okay. In 1965, about the time we're told that she met them, Peter Tosh, believe it or not, is the oldest of the crew. Peter Tosh was born in 1944, which would make him 21, right? He may have met Bob earlier because I think they met in earlier, but when they get in contact with Rita, this is about 65. So Bunny is, no, I keep saying Bunny. Peter is 21. Bob is 20 because Bob born in 45. Rita is 19. They're young. What were you doing at 21, 20, and 19? Did you and your brethren possibly like the same girl? Did you and your sister like the same guy? They're young. Rita is 19 years old, and Bunny is the baby of the group. He's 18. I think that's important to keep note at this time when they're meeting. So we're going to go now to where Rita is talking about, when they met. Because the article that I got the link on, I'm like, trouble in paradise. So now that we see them and we are look upon them a little bit, right? All right. And we're going to give them little grace. We're going to give them some grace. We're going to give them some grace. So we're going to go to page, if you have the book, follow along. We're on page 14. And I'm not reading long tonight, peoples, because you don't know, tonight is alive. So this is what, hold on for me 1 second. All right, we're back in at the saddle again. Okay. I had to make sure the place stayed quiet, you know what I mean? For the reading. So when I found out that wailing wailers passed our house every day on their way to Coxon One studio, I told Dream and Marlene that we ought to meet them and sing for them. Backstory: Rita wants to sing. She entered a contest. Her father is a musician. Her cousin Dream sings. She hears that they pass her house. They are on the radio. What time, when did Simadon come out? She's aware of them a little bit because they have 1 and 2 songs that are playing. Okay. Let me go back up. Our favorite stars were Toots and the Maytals, Delroy Wilson, the Paragon, Ken Boot, Marcia Grisons, and a particular group who called themselves the Wailing Wailers. So they had a little buzz in the streets already. Okay? They didn't bust, but they had a little buzz. They had a little buzz. Okay, peoples? I'm going to come see the comments in a second. So when she heard that her local favorite group passes her yard and she has singing ambitions, this is what she does. One evening, when I looked out, they were passing the cemetery because, according to Rita, the cemetery is across the street from our house. So the three of us ran over to wave. Remember, she said her aunt is strict, so she couldn't really go too far, you know. All right. Looking at them, there were three of them. Two, I thought, well, they look all right because she's seen them up close and personal. I could be friends with those guys. Okay. Even though Auntie was always saying, don't look out for the boy business, you already have one baby, which we know that would have to be now. We're in the year of 1965. So just be cool now. You're either going to work or back to school, or I'll send you to your father who already went to England. You're not going to stay here and be an inconvenience because remember, Rita's mother is gone, her father is gone, and Auntie is taking care of her. Let's continue. Nevertheless, I began to watch for the wailers. Meaning said, Megan, you may not listen what Auntie I say. Me not listen what she I say. And listen to them on the radio. So that means she was aware of them before they were aware of her. She saw that they were where she wanted to be. And so she's making her way towards that direction. Okay. It's important to know that the power dynamic in the group that you're going to enter into. It says here, and one day, not long after they stopped and waved back, and Peter Tosh, the tall one, came across the street while the two others leaned on the cemetery wall. Remember, Peter is the older one. I just said of the whole group, Peter is the older one, Bob is the shy one, and Bunny is the baby, right? It says here, strumming their guitars. That's interesting. Which I just stopped on it, like, yeah, man, I'm strumming guitar when me sit on against this cemetery wall. That's weird, but okay. It says Peter introduced himself. He had no problem. He was forward. If I'm not mistaken, sociable. Since Rita's going by zodiacs, he's born in October. You may have been very sociable, possibly, okay, outgoing. So his real name was Winston Hubert McIntosh, and asked me how I was and what was my name, and called me a nice girl. She remembered that. So her first point of contact is Peter. He's tall, dark, handsome, friendly, outgoing in the Wailers group. Make we continue. So you're the Wailers, I said. And who's that one? That's Bunny, he said. And the other is Robbie. Hi. Hi. Imagine no Rita, no. They cross the street. Hi. What more to do? Everybody. Marita. Waving across the street. I yelled across the street, all the while trying to think of a way to tell them that we could sing. So she had an agenda. She wanted to let them know that she could sing. I see y'all out here doing y'all thing. I can sing too. Put me on. We've seen this. This is not out of the blue in the sense of many musicians have this similar story. They get a chance to do an on-the-spot audition. They have ambitions. They're going to do it, right? So that's not all the way out of the norm. It says here, she says, where should they? So she ball across the street. Let's try to practice that song. What's Your Name? By Sam and Dave. The next time the Wailers came past and stopped to greet us, I said to Peter, so now she established not even just not a relationship, a familiarity now with Peter. He's the first to speak to her. He came over. They're having a conversation. So this is her first point of contact with this particular group. This is important. Make we continue now. Trouble in Paradise. Welcome to all those who have just joined us. I'll read the comments in a second. It says here, no, Peter come cross. I said to Peter, you know we can sing a bit. So she not that shy. Alpha Rita not that shy. Alpha Rita said, no, it's my chance. And he said, well, sing then, no man. So you ain't gonna tell me you could sing. All right, boom, do it now. It's like somebody could say, Amoni, you could sing. And if I have ambitions to sing, that means I've been practicing song. I'm ready to sing. You understand? So, boom, stop there. Let me jump down. No, Auntie had been so strict with me since I had Sharon, hello, that I hadn't been allowed to talk to boys out of our yard. Don't make me feel like I'm an old woman just because I have a baby. I'm still young lady. We know. I still can be happy, I yelled at her. But the rule was that I could only socialize over the fence. So imagine she over the fence. Yeah, you know, so me can't sing. So when Peter asked, again, she's having this conversation with Peter. She first met Peter when Peter is the one who's interfacing with her. I opened the gate and stood half in and half out, and we sung. Mhm. The next day, not just Peter, but the one called, why did she call him? Yeah, the one called Robbie. The one called Robbie came over. This time I was alone. So the next day, this is like the third time you having this interaction. Not only Peter, but Robbie comes. He and I said hello, but he was shy. And I thought, oh, nice boy. Then Peter said, you look like a decent girl, and it seems as if you can sing. So why don't you let us take you up to Coxon's for an audition one of these days? Remember, this is what she wanted. She wanted she and her cousin to sing in a group. Now you have this opportunity from some young youths that don't look so bad, that's been on the radio, and they're inviting you to the studio. That was an offer I needed to consider. Would those guys take me away, she says, and violate her? That's the first thought she had. After all, Trenchtown was full of risky, tough, rude boys, and most of them could sing. By then, though, a few of Papa's friends were aware of our talent after having heard Dream and Me in the Yard. Andy Anderson, Denzel Lang were also friends of Coxon. So one day they decided to pull some strings and take us up to see them. Fast forward, okay? When she goes, it says, all excited but a little nervous, Marlene, Dream, and I went to the studio. And there were the Wailing Wailers, because by this time they're in the studio all the time, who were surprised, not as now as well as interesting, because Peter invites her to come to the studio. She doesn't take Peter up. According to her, her father's brethren, them who take it, and they're like, well, she there, she come. But without we. It was great. We did a few songs. First of all, as somebody who has been in the studio, this is how a lot of artists get robbed, man. Because creating music and creating art is a energy that opens you up, and you're not thinking about the business aspect of it, right? And so when you don't just go in the studio and start doing a few songs. There's no who are you doing the songs for? What are the agreements? Like I've been in situations where you go to the studio and you do a few songs, and then now when the business come in, everybody get amnesia. All who never write, all who never depend record. And so I could see how and why people get carried away in this creative space of music industry and also get robbed. You went to the studio to check it out, and now you laying tracks, but okay. And then Coxon asked Robbie to play the guitar for us while we sang some more. I could tell it was important to all three of the Wailers to see that Dream and I had been raised strictly. Okay, this is when she infers a lot, you know what I mean? But we're going to roll with it because it's her story. That we had discipline from our house, that we had been brought to Coxon by older men who knew music. Basically, they wasn't going to get, although, you still didn't get what you're supposed to get, but Robbie in particular seemed to take that as something very positive. I think he started to feel interested in me. Again, this is your thoughts. But that first day, I was just freelancing. So you laid tracks on the first day. You was like, shoo up, just on the first day. Like, who's going to own the masters? I know that's how it was back in the day, but still today, people will be like, yeah, man, what you think about this track? And if you're musical, you just going to start singing to it. You just going to start playing to it. If you're a producer, next thing you know, you got God. You got God. You got God. So she said she was freelancing. I wasn't really concentrating on any special one of them. You're good now. When she first got there, even though Pete Tatash is her first point of contact, and he's the one that's more vocal, he's the mediator. She's not concentrating on any one of them, she says. Amuna, we'll get to the pint. We'll take the time. We just are stirring the ingredients now. We are hotty pot. And I put in with onion and with scallion and with pepper. We are hotty pot, man. Just wait. I wasn't really concentrating on any special one of them. It was exciting enough just to be at Coxon Ones, where you see people you hear on the radio. All right. Me read that, because that was one of the part when we want to read. Let us jump to page 21 now. Page 21. So I heard somebody say that Coxon started pairing them like duets to do songs. Again, this is not strange. If you look at Motown in America, when you got a new artist, maybe they'll start to pair that artist with other female artists like Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. They will start pairing these people and see whose voices meld together. So early on, Coxon started pairing, and I'm going to read some of those songs, just the first verse. Peter and Rita, that kind of rhyme. Bonnie and Rita. In the beginning, I think those two were paired before Bob was actually paired to hear how their voices meld, right? But the songs they sung were interesting, okay? The songs they sung were interesting. Welcome to those who've just joined us. I think this is where the pots start to get mixed up. Page 21, it says here, this is when she start talking about how she and Bob and this and that and them go to studio and every minute them daddy all day long. And so you got to understand, being in the studio is dark. People are singing, emotions, feelings. Gotta be careful. This is how Wyclef Jean ended up with Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? This is how a lot of producers ended up trying to be. R. Kelly tried to be with the people he's producing because that is a vulnerable space when you're in the studio. Okay. So she jumps down to says, and so though I didn't expect this, I became his, meaning Robbie. This is afterwards. As in, okay, now, guys, this is my girl. Even Peter Tosh. Why would she say even Peter Tosh? Even Peter Tosh. If somebody said even that person there, that means there's something going on. And then at this point, even this person has to accept it, right? Even Peter Tosh respected that. Curious language, very veiled language, but no worry. It says not to touch because Peter was very touchy. He would see you and ooh, and you see the ooh again, the ooh lean, and ooh, hug you up and try squeeze you up. But Bob said, no, 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 this is my girl. This wouldn't be necessarily at the beginning because remember, at the beginning when she came, she didn't have her eye. Notably, I don't know you guys on any particular person, but here's a new girl into the equation. There was another girl there as well, but here's a new girl into the equation. What's that conversation between the 21-year-old, the 20-year-old, and the 18-year-old? What is this conversation amongst the young youth? They're in. I looked up Cox and Dodd's age. At this time, he's 33. He's older than them. He's born in 1932. So they're young, and this young girl comes in their age group. Does one of them like them? What did Peter first like him? Her? Question. We're gonna jump now. We're gonna jump. It says it wasn't long before Coxon put out a Wailers album with the soul that's behind them, released in 1965, called Wailing Wailers. Okay, so now they're singing duets, they're looking in each other's eyes, and they're doing all of that. Let me jump again. Page 25. Page 25. Which part me there? She says here, and I'm there being Miss Queen. So amongst all of the guys, let me go ahead and put the picture back up again. See she in the middle? See she in the middle? You see she in the middle? So she says, I am there, meaning where the Solettes were already a hot female group in Jamaica, and the Wailing Wailers, the number one male group, with all the girls going crazy over them. And I'm there being Miss Queen. So in the midst of it, because she's the lead, so in the midst of all of this, you have this young boy group and this young girl group, and she's getting the attention that she wanted. She says, I'm there being Miss Queen because although all three Wailers made much of me, and made me feel special at the same time, I was feeling so sure about Robbie. Remember what she just said? All three Wailers thought much of her because Bunny's letter was scathing. So what's going on? This young girl is amongst all these three young youths, okay? And she's saying, Rita is, that they made much of her, but she was feeling Robbie. 1 second. Let's read from this article real quick to hear what she told a German newspaper. Let me share my screen so you guys can see what I'm reading. And then we're going to read from some of these songs they were singing and see why somebody might be in their feelings, right? We're going to see why somebody might be in their feelings. Do. Alrighty. Let me know if you can see it. Let me know if you can see it. Let me see it on my phone here. Then I'm going to read this article right quick. Not the whole thing, just this little part that pertains onto what she just said. Fitting for a relationship that at times only held together the love of music. The question is, she says temporarily, our relationship started, meaning her and Bob, as a musical project, right? Her group backing their group and sometimes doing solo things, right? And that's how it ended, meaning, oopsie, meaning even though, will you tap it nice? Meaning even though, you know, the relationship part fell apart, she held on to why they first got together, which was to make music. She goes on to say that this was the unusual love. This wasn't, meaning her and Robbie, wasn't the usual love at first sight number. Okay, you guys can see me. For quite a while, I was convinced, here you know, that sooner or later, I would marry Peter Tosh. I've said it. Hey, I've said my own. No. When I read this, I was like, what? What? Let me read it again. She says, because remember at first she said she didn't pick any particular one. This interview was in 2005 when she was promoting this very book. And she said she wasn't gravitating to any particular one, but her star, tall, dark, and handsome was her thing. She said, for quite a while, I was convinced that sooner or later I would marry Peter Tosh. Tall, dark, charming. He was a great fellow. But then suddenly, Bob burst through the door and won the race. And then it says she laughs. Curious. This is curious. So we're looking at possibly, where's this bad blood coming from? Is there an underlying indifference? What really is going on? This is from Rita, according to the interviewer. I could show you the credentials for the interviewer in a second. Nevertheless, she goes on, there was a phase in which you were madly in love with each other. At least that's what you write in your book, No Woman, No Cry. She says, yes, before I knew it, I started to have a crush on the shy Robbie. Is that after you thought you was convinced that you was going to be with Peter? What happened between you and Peter that made you no longer convinced that you were going to be with Peter and that now you was crushing on Robbie? That's what we called him in those days. He was so warm-hearted, soft. First, he became my musical teacher. Then he conquered my heart. I have questions. I have questions. In one instance, again, you were convinced you were going to be in Peter, marry Peter. At what point did you think, or at what point that no longer a thought in your mind? How interesting was that, peoples? I'm gonna come to the comment section. I don't want to get thrown off real quick. I got one more thing to do. And then I'm gonna come to the comment section. I see the comment section is jumping. Okay, it's jumping. So let me read some of these songs from 1965. I'll read quickly one between she and Peter, and then between she and Bunny, because these lyrics are curious lyrics. You ready? Y'all know I'm about to put 20 on 10, but it's okay. It's only time in 1965. Let me see. Before I say, hold on there. Before y'all say, oh, Mona, here we go. Y'all know I'm coming with the receiptsies. Here goes the press up. It's only time. You see what that said? Can anybody lean in? Does that say Peter and Rita? Does that say Peter and Rita? So while I read this one, it's only time. Let us read some of the lyrics. It is said that some of the recordings was done in 1965. This is when she first reached a studio. And y'all could click the link. As a matter of fact, I have the link right here. You don't click it now, but I have the link for the YouTube video so y'all can listen to the song for yourself. It's only time can heal my heart the way you broke it and tore it apart. It's only time can heal my heart I want to hear you say, I was in love with you, but you didn't love me. Now see what you have done to me. You tore my heart apart. It's only time can heal my heart. Lyrics. Remember when we're just reading at the article, She says, for quite a while, I was convinced that sooner or later I would marry Peter Tosh. Tall, dark, charming. He was a great fellow. Now, me no know who write that song, yeah. Me can't tell you say me know who write it. But what I can say is that they did do a duet together. They did sing this song, and those lyrics are like, huh? Interesting. Right. Make we go down now. Let me see if we have this next one queue up now. Hold on, peoples. Let me see which one is this. This one is, no, that's later. This is the next one when she do You Lied. Peter and Rita. See there? 1966. You could click on it and listen to it yourself if you've never heard it. So let's see what I want to name. Making Love. Let us read. What will the people say? What will the people do? How will the people feel to know I'm falling in love with you? Making love. How would they feel? Remember, say, Peter, I'm Rita. I sing this song duet style. It's like some duets when you hear the person together, you'd swear blind to the people them there. Like when you listen to Fire and Desire, you understand me? I say, you be like, yo, there's no way they sung that duet and them no day. Now they could not be, but sometimes these love songs, me I say yes, I mean I say no, me just I say what she said. How would they feel to know I broke your heart in two? That is making love. See, where they're on your screen right now. You see it? Great. Now they also paired her with Bunny. So let's hear the song pairing with Bunny at that time. No, wait. With the Bunny one day. But just go read the Bunny one. This one is You Lied. Lyrics are very telling. Remember, another time Rita says that the lyrics are their life. She tells us that Bob writes lyrics and it's his real life. Remember that? You Lied says you lied to your mom. This is Peter and Rita, if I'm not mistaken. You Lied is. It says, you lied to your mommy, you lied to your daddy. You went around, then you put me down. I never thought you could act so mean. You cheat, cheat, cheat. You went around saying I'm your clown. I never knew you'd lie to me. That's the first verse, right? You can listen to it at your own discretion. And there's one more that was made with that I found made with Bunny in 1965. And the first verse goes, I made a vow to you. Yes, yes, my darling. These young youths is singing this stuff. We got to be careful what we sing, people. We got to be careful. Music is powerful. I made a vow to you. Yes, yes, my darling, but I broke your heart. Won't you please forgive? For now that vow has come true. Did I vow to love and serve you? Start our lives with you. Take your arms and hold me because that vow was for you. And that is Bunny Wailer singing with Rita Marley. So there was a lot. Like she said, she was in the studio and they were singing. And you understand me? I said, somewhere along the line, and we don't know where along the line, but I didn't say it. Somewhere along the line, her affections switched from the person who came across the street, the first point of contact, the person who she thought was her type, tall, dark, and handsome. She said it in the book too, her type, but I had to go looking for that. And that Bobby wasn't usually her type because he was short and brown, right? But she started to crush on him because he was considerate, because he asked her about her child. He saw her titty milk dripping and he asked her if she had a baby. That means that whether it was a quick schoolgirl crush or it was a long reaching situation, whatever it was something. And those three who were there and those who were around at that time, them know. Right now, I see people said that Peter Tosh make brand new second hand for Rita. I don't know, but I listened to that song. I don't think I ever heard that song until today. I was like, what? He went in on that song. Whoever that song is for, that was diss track before diss track. He went in on that song. So I think just by my analysis that something in that area never sort out too right. Something in the area never sort out too right. I'm now going to come to the comment section because I know I dropped a lot, as did I yesterday. You know, no, what I got after this. Rest up, me say. Right? But let me go ahead. Let me see. That's all I had. Let me see. You lied. Oh, no, wait. You lied. You lied to your mommy. You lied to your daddy. You went around. Then you put me down. No, Marie, that one already. Yeah, you lied. Making love, the vow, it's only time. That did I go on. Them sang, them did I sing. So with that said, let me drop the this in the thing here. Let me go back and see what going. Bless up everybody who's just joined us. And let me see what's Papa locking in the comment section. The comment section is litty today. Okay. So blessings to everyone. Let's see. Tall, dark, and handsome. That she say. Who that? Peter? Peter is October. Hold on. I don't want to lie. Peter is, I think he's like October 19. It's him born October 19. Him born October 19. Yeah. she said Libras. I think it's all about personalities for her. And I would say this, like I said, give them some grace in the sense that another bond between all of them is parental issues. Peter he's basically orphaned. Bob at this point is orphaned to the degree that his father has passed on, Norval has passed on, and his mother is not there, right? And then Bunny Wailer has an interesting family dynamic. Tacky is interesting, and his mom, I don't know what was going on with all of the women around, right? Yeah, she said she liked tall, dark, and handsome. Rita says that, right. It's all about personality, that Peter is engaging. He was sociable, and you can understand how one would be drawn into that. But I'm just saying something happens with this group early on, even in their comings and going in this I'm quite sure it's not a big, luscious, lavish studio, in these very small quarters, in these tight spaces, and they're young and love was waking. What's going on at this time? You know what I mean? What's going on at this time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw Esther and you better leave Esther. Esther says she wrote I Shot the Sheriff. She want credits. I'm telling you, that studio thing, yes, I've done music. Yes, I write music. Yes, I can sing. But one of the things that turned me off is the other side of the conversation. You know what I mean? And so I've seen it. I've seen it. It ain't for the faint. Watching from London, England. Big up yourself from London, England. Shout out where you're watching from. Make a friend in the comment section. Good night, everyone. Didn't expect this. Right. What happening with Rita? How did that progression go? Like I said, she's very to be expected of this particular generation. Like I said, I've seen it. Yo, Stephanie, I didn't say Peter used to feel her up. She said that Peter used to like rub and hug up and get warm hug. And ooh, him like for hug. That she said, and that me say. I think Bob lays his claim afterwards, though, because at what point did Rita think? Let me read our words again, because I don't want to put no words in our mouth. For quite a while, not just a while or a quick second, but for quite a while, I was convinced that sooner or later I would marry Peter Tosh. That's what she said. That is what she said. That is what she said. So Bob wasn't laying no claims at the beginning. Could it be when Peter is like, nah, I'm good? And Bob is like, well, I go talk to her then because you don't bring her close. I don't know. Love was waking. Well, yeah, Bunny Wailer again. Like I said, his thing is scathing, and again, he's ranting and raving and not telling us why you're ranting and raving, so that we can come to the own conclusion of ourselves. What he may have called whorish behavior, that she's a whore, we don't know what you talk about. We wasn't there. So now we have to embody all your emotions to deal with the situation. I saw it. I'm like, bruh, can you just, you know what I mean? They said Rita had Leo energy. The question was she courted by them? I don't know if she was courted by both. I know she said she liked one and then began to crush on the other. So she was convinced she was going to marry. I don't know where she got this conviction from, that she was going to marry Peter Tosh. She liked him, but something happens. I don't know if it's indicated in the songs, whether he lied, whether, I don't know. But the songs are very telling. The vow, you lied, and all of these things. Something is going on around in the studio. And we know Bob, if you step on his toe, he about to write a song about you. If you step on his toe, he about to write a song. So I can imagine if Peter's writing songs and they're writing songs, they're writing their own songs. It sounds like they wrote it to me. I could be wrong, but it's a possibility that Bob wasn't her first choice only because of what she said, not because of what I'm saying, because what she said. Story come to bump, Jerry. The story more than come to bump. See bump here, and the story go fly right over a bump. This Libertas said, I'm shocked. I know when I read it, shout out to the subscriber. They dropped it's like, yo, Muna, check this out. And I'm like, me have video for go watch, me have other things for do. Me say, all right. Let me go look this real quick. Me say, what am I supposed to say while ago? Oh, let me give you. So this interview was done. I could give you the exact day when the interview was done before somebody said, oh, shut the no, go so. The interview was done. It was done May 25th, 2005 in Westin Grand Hotel, Berlin, published in Galore magazine. And the photos were done by Eric Weiss. So, all right, let's go. We are all shocked. Peter was tall, dark, and handsome. Mommy said, but was too short for her. That me here too. Said blows and skirt, pants and shirt. Blows and skirt. And that she said, she did convince. That means that when she first meet them now and she go home, she must say, yes, me and Peter Tosh would make a nice couple. But, oh, wait a minute. Something just came to my mind. Later on, she says, marriage was nowhere on my mind. Hold on, Rita. Come on, Rita, man. Come on, Rita. Why are you doing this to me? When Bob come and say, boy, Rita, we could get married. You hear what she said? Hold on then. No. Let me go back now. And I'm going to give you grace because you were young and you were postpartum and your jubby, your love boo, was sent off. But you said marriage wasn't on your mind. But then you told the interviewer that marriage was on your mind, but it was just for Peter. Ah, boy. Somebody says this woman sit every day from the Bob Marley movie and chat beer. I'm glad you took that. I wonder if she ain't got nothing else better to do. Actually, I have a lot to do. And I've been giving nothing but information. If you don't want us to read the book, then this is basically a book club. So if you don't want us to read the book, if I'm talking foolishness, it's coming from the book. I just read from the book. I read from her article. So I'm not understanding. That's the next thing I don't understand. Why we the people, this is why we can't get past certain things, because we would rather lead on our own understanding than avail ourselves to the things that have been left on record. For the last month that I have been coming on this lovely internet, which, by the way, I've been doing book clubs for years. I don't have to really justify what it is I do. You can go and look. I've been doing book clubs for years. This is a book written for us to read. I'm trying to figure out what part that I said was not what was written. Sometimes we don't want to hear something that challenges our predetermined thought process. And I understand that. But we try to keep it respectfully. So, we try, as you see, I don't curse and carry on. I don't disrespect people on my channel. And I ask that we don't disrespect one another and we don't disrespect the host, right? Yep. Let's keep going. Why so vexed? Right. Somebody asked topic, why so vexed? Nobody is disrespecting anybody here. I'm literally just reading what they said. Oh yeah, at the time when she thought she was going to marry Peter, possibly. There's a possibility that Peter reminded her of her baby father because she said the baby father was tall and slim and he was a twin. So it's possible that he reminded her of him. I think she was going through a lot. I think she was I think Rita tells stories poorly. Was she really interested in Peter or just saw him as her type so that she could have been the one who would marry if she had her pick? Yeah, exactly. I think the way she expressed herself, it needed to be sourced out a little bit more. Good evening, everybody. Again, you know what's interesting? With that on YouTube, if the person is speaking something that you don't want to hear, why do we keep clicking on it? Why do we keep clicking on it? I'm not understanding. Why do we keep clicking on it? I think it's quite entertaining. And I think that listening to the story from the people who lived it kind of gets rid of all of the hearsay. We're taking it from a first-hand account. I don't see what makes it so upsetting. I don't understand that part. But let's continue. Notice that Rita thought she would marry Peter Tosh, but also said she didn't have vision of getting to marry to Bob. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Exactly. Somebody said maybe he's upset with himself. I know, like, we can't take what she has said. Let me see what she has said. Look, now, I grew up on listening to all of this stuff, right? But I'm also committed to what is true. Like I said, when I saw Tupac's father coming out here after everybody has passed on and remixing a story, you can go and look. I read all of Afeni Shakur's book. Is there. If you're interested in Tupac's life and Afeni Shakur, you're going to see that. If you're interested in Marvin Gaye's life, you're going to see that, right? If you're interested in slave narratives, you're going to see that. And the funny thing is, I got people upset when I started reading slave narratives. People were upset too. Where you are read slave narrative for? Where you read that for? So it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's continue. All I ask is that we be respectful. Like, why we don't have to, we're not disrespecting. If somebody came, there's people who have come on this channel. Somebody said they were related to Tacky in the comment section. And my presentation, the person was like, oh, I'm so offended that you're talking about somebody that they wrote about. As long as you keep it respectful. And that's what I ask, that we keep it respectful. Let's see. Yeah, the songs, I think. I don't know what she was doing. I don't want to go as far as to say that she was messing around with all of them. I'm just saying what was said. I think this would be a good Netflix series. I think they need to take time with the text between Sedella and Rita's book. I think they need to take time with this text because there's so much in there. There's so much in there. Shout out for watching from Maryland. They were all young, I agree. So it's not surprising that they all got stories they're ashamed of. Most people do. To be old and wise, you got to be. It's true. It's true. That's why I said at the beginning of the conversation that we should give them some grace. Why they said Bunny never recovered? That's a possibility why they didn't invite them to the wedding, because there's some bad blood there, possibly. Because why wouldn't you invite your brethren them there unless they would have possibly tried to talk him out of it, or they know the backstory? Because they know men talk as much as women, right? So they would have known whatever conversation was going on. And if Rita was leaning in to Peter and saying that he was, more outgoing and affectionate, but everybody else would have also seen it. So that's curious. Now that after something happens, now Bob is taking interest and now she's crushing on Bob. Watching from Havana, big up yourself, Florida, Houston, Texas, big up yourself, Detroit, Michigan, in the building. Louisiana, Connecticut. Yeah, they were young. They were young. They were young. Um, still. So I put the link in the box. Bob is a reggae version of Taylor Swift. He was writing songs about people. Yo, he said it. He writes songs. He said in an interview, if basically if you piss him off, it's okay. He's just gonna turn it into a song. He even said that in an interview. If somebody wrongs him, he's okay because yeah, he's gonna sing about it. He definitely did. Let me ask you something because sometimes I like to make sure that the work that I'm doing and the time that I'm sharing, have we learned and 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 seen ourselves in this story? Have we learned from discussing this story of Bob, Rita, the Wailers, music, reggae, culture, tradition? Because if we've learned, then a win is a win. It's not just to sit down and gossip about the people, it's to learn from their stories and to hear what they have said. Because many books, there was one time I heard an interview that Bob said that how many books at that time was written of him. And he actually said that he was going to write his own book. And this is why I implore people, write your own books, write your own narrative, because if you don't, somebody else is going to. And so he said that he wanted to write a book. No, was it Bob or was it Peter Tosh? I think it was Peter Tosh who was saying that he wanted to write his own book. I think it was Peter Tosh. Yeah. But he never got an opportunity to do that, right? And so now other people are telling their side of the story. There's many sides to the story and only one real truth, but there's all subjective depending on where you are. Sneak Peeks says she don't trust Rita. I think Rita is not necessarily, she's speaking in riddles. She's speaking coded. It's kind of shrouded a little bit. So if you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? Yes, Jackie London. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to her yet. That I'm saying there's so much things to say right now. Yeah, I wanted to look into that. There's so much to look into. Then the Bob Marley paperwork came across the desk with the what he told the immigration officer. That thing was crazy yesterday. I had to listen to it again. Like this is a lot. Yes, teenage hormones, young adults. You say you want guy your bed, but you want bust laugh. All right, bust the laugh, then guy your bed. Rita remind me of out of sight, out of mind. Her baby father gone. She wanted to marry Peter. Then Bob go harder. Now she take him on. Bob Bonar. Then Ital come in. I think Rita's issue is based on what we heard, based on the studies I've done about healing and all of this. Rita's issue is she's wounded. Number one, her father is the one that gave her the attention, and then her father left. So sometimes she's maybe seeking that attention and that affirmation from a male, and she's not able to find it. So if she ain't gonna get it from you, she gonna look somewhere else. So I think there was a deeper emotional issue that manifested itself physically in her relation. Oh, speaking of, before I go, wait, let me make sure I got everybody. Yeah. Leave a moon. Me not lie upon nobody. Me not lie upon nobody. Some people, it's funny. Some YouTuber, they just go off of straight emotions. They get straight opinions. They don't provide not a shred of facts. And then people be like, share. I'm like, why are y'all sharing this? The people are spreading this information. If any of the people who are related to these people come, what part they have to be able to tell me time marker, Muna, where you went off. You could correct it, but all I'm doing is sharing with you what's left on record. Let me read what she said about Tacky in the interview. Let me read what she said about Tacky. Everybody's saying they look forward to the reading of the book. Let's look at people say, I'm gonna talk more about Tacky. Let me see what she said about Tacky. She said, hold on there. She kind of went in this interview. Hold on. Wait, here's an interesting part. Is the story true that the manager of the Wailers obliged you both to pretend not to be married in public? Let me share the screen so you could see it. Let me share the screen. Is this it? No coffee. Hold on. Oh no. They gave me a commercial. Hold on one second. Where did the article go? Oh, Cynthia. All right. Is the story true that the manager of the Wailers obliged you both to pretend not to be married in public? That's the philosophy of record companies. That's how these people roll. It was a problem that I had to deal with on my own. Of course, you feel neglected and pushed to the side. I constantly had to switch back and forth from backup singer and employee to wife and mother. After the show, it was often my job to chase the young things. She called them young things that slept with him out of his dressing room so that Bob could get his sleep. What was going on? Like, why was you just throwing yourself everywhere? Like, that even shows a lack of, to a certain degree, of respect for your own temple, your own body. You're running into it, and on his lap sits a half naked girl, and all he can think is, "What's going on, Rita?" Wait, and all he can think is, "What's going on, Rita?" She just doing an interview with me. The half naked girl was doing the interview. At one point, he actually claimed that they have read the Bible together. Yeah. Did she say? No, man. Go to the book of Leviticus. He said they was reading the Bible. I'm done. Let's see here. It was. I'll share this link so y'all can see the article yourself. Oh, to the question that we asked yesterday, about would there have been a Bob without Rita? Do you think Bob Marley's career would have been possible without your help? Thanks for a long time. So this is the same question I asked on the community board, right? Oh, well, really, because of what her granddaughter says. Maybe in a different form, she says. I already had the feeling that I was needed a lot. And of course, I took care of our children, which kept a lot of doors open for Bob. Men tend to forget about this work. When we were on tour, we always stayed in separate hotels. Then I was first and foremost a musician. If felt like Miss Marley all this time, we would have been rattling each other nonstop, fighting all the time because of his escapades. And it says she growled. So I think she held a lot of stuff in, and that adversely stress and anxiety and internalized feelings, they cause issues in the body and in the mind after time. That's why you don't make nobody make your body calm down, because that's crazy. It's not worth it. Wait, I'm trying to find that the tidy part. Here, at some point, you finally had the courage to emancipate yourself. No, they did not say to emancipate yourself as far as your love life was concerned. Yo, the interviewer don't have no business. Them say emancipate yourself from from Bob Marley slavery. Why did they say at some point you finally had the courage to emancipate yourself as far as your love life was concerned? There was a neighbor named Tacky who grew very close to your heart. She says, remember the other one, she thinking long, she growling. It says, yes, Jamaican top footballer these days, a great man. I had to take this step. Not, she said she had to, not to prove anything to him or anyone else, but because it just felt natural. Where I said to me? It goes on to say, right in every way, Bob was having one of his usual affairs again, this time with Esther Anderson, an actress. That Esther Anderson conversation needs to be had at a later time because, yeah, let's just have that at a later time. So it says here, Tacky saw that and just said, that's not fair. He treats you badly, Rita. Bob walked up the walls when he heard about it. He downplayed the matter all his life. We even had a child together, Sarita. So she don't feel no way. It doesn't sound like she upset both, or she have no apologies for the Tacky situation. It don't sound like she made no apologies for that. Let's see. Let me go through. And then nobody coming up today? Because if not, at what time now? I'll give one more chance and then. I don't know who the baby was for. I don't know that part. That part I don't know. We did read yesterday that she lost the baby, but Bob, by that time, she's saying by the time Bob came in the picture, it was just Bob. So I'm gonna just have to go with that. All right. Yeah, the only thing that I'd ask and that we keep the chat respectful and that we don't curse each other in the chat and do all kind of disrespectful stuff. At which point you gotta get timed out in the chat because this is not that type of party. You don't know? So yeah. Chrissy said topic man don't like the topic. And it's okay. I have plenty other topics that you may like. You can avail yourself to other videos that you may find interesting. I don't know if you guys remember the whole Kevin Samuels wave a few years ago. I was commenting on the Kevin Samuel wave and people didn't like that either. Go for surprise, surprise. Yeah, they were all young. People want to remember their idols and heroes in a way, but are bothered that they aren't who they seem to be because why are we idolizing in this way? You can vibe with a person and like the vibe with a person, but when you make the person an idol, now you have crystallized them in this form in your mind, and now they're no longer human, and they're very much human. And so when you take away their humanity, you don't learn anything from their experience. And what is life if we're not able to learn? Gail, I see you in, but I see your device is disconnected. Just Trippin says, these past week, I was in UAE, France, Istanbul, Rome, and back to New York as of last night. Wow, you're there on the move. Safe travels. I kept checking your channel for new videos while I had downtime from my vacation. Awesome. Awesome. Safe travels. That's a lot of traveling in a short time. That's a lot of traveling. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. But I kind of like to address, people who have concerns. If you got a concern, if it's valid, I'm gonna hear you out. I'm fair. But if it's just you just upset because that's what I was talking about. Why are we upset? Why are we upset? What's going on with us? You know what I mean? I think that's important to know because okay, Gail, I see you. I'm coming for you now. Because this is even how we act in relationships. Somebody just gets upset and they flare up, and you have no clue what the problem is. What particular part of the conversation is upsetting you? Is it revealing too many truths? Is it going over what Rita said? Is it giving ear to what Sedella said? Is it cross-referencing? Is it providing receipts, paperwork? Shout out to Washington, D.C. in the house. At Walt Disney. I saw the bridge in Baltimore. That was crazy. How are you guys getting around? Norfolk, Virginia, Grenada. Shout out to Grenada in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boston, Massachusetts. Uh-huh. I'll make sure I'm good on true. Epigenetics is what I learned from you. I researched intergenerational patterns and having people release such. Yeah, these are intergenerational patterns. I'm not just reading to read. I'm reading to share and for us to connect, but also to show you and us and me to learn along the way that, hey, we can use the stuff that we've learned, these references, and really make progress in our own life if that's what our objectives are, right? Yeah, man, I learned a lot. I definitely identify with Sedella about how abundant eggs are in America. I didn't expect you to say that. Sedella was over the moon about them eggs. She was like, eggs. And Jamaica, we scrambled 3 for a whole family. That was, I didn't expect you to say that. Sedella was over the moon about the eggs. Gail, your background is a little loud.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The Rita thing, like I said, I kind of like to wait till I get sourced up before I go deep into stuff. I've heard about the estate situation. Like I said, in passing over the years, I mean, I wasn't that like pulled towards it where I want to do a deep dive. Anything I really pick up, I'm gonna do a deep dive, and then when I'm done sharing, and then I'm done. Right? So we're doing a deep dive, and then that's just what it is. I learned that we all make mistakes. Some major with love when we were young. I like Bob with Rita, not Cindy, regardless. Yeah, we do. And some of the mistakes we make with love when we're young in relationships, without proper guidance, they affect our entire life. Some mistakes that we made that we're like, oh, we're young. That's we did do that when we are 15 or 14 or 12 or hopefully not 12, right? 20, but they affect our entire lives. And so, like you said, that's something to be learned as well. Ruth says, I can identify with Rita crushing on all the boys. I did that when I was young. Oh, me here say, Brian, me here say, Alan Skill Cole say, Maga have a book. Me a wait feet. Oh, no, I even want to take a little Bob break. That's why you see me start read Island Twist. But speaking of which, Gail, we're going to come to you in 1 second. I got to play this commercial real quick. Shout out to everybody. This is why I had to take a break to break it up a little bit. Let me go ahead and play this commercial real quick, and then we're going to come back to Gail after commercial. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not so secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel Island Twist over on Amazon today. Now back to the story. All right, all right. So we have Gail. Thank you for coming on. Feel free to share your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I really want to say thank you for your reading and your storytelling because I look forward to it for a couple of reasons. You shared with us about epigenetics, and that really hit me because I was looking at my own family patterns and those of others around me. And I've been sharing a lot about you and what you're doing because I read Joe Dispenza like you do. I do a lot of research. And so I've been looking at Origin, the movie by Ava DuVernay with Isabel Wilkerson that
Mhm.
wrote about the caste system. And then I took what you were talking about with Bob and Sedella, and I've been telling people about how you shared about Bob and Sedella and the epigenetics behind it and family patterns, and then Origin, which goes into the caste system and how we're treated as communities. And it really comes together. And the biggest thing I wanted to say is when you talked about how Sedella mother married Mr. Malcolm and
Mhm.
kicked the other woman out. And then we turn around and we look at Bob, and he didn't even really know the full situation. And then here he does the same thing with Rita. I wanted to just share this. My mother and dad, they broke up years before, okay? And the bottom line is that my husband ended up meeting my father at a different location, never knowing him, and said he had my mannerisms. So you don't have to necessarily know somebody to
True.
repeat the same things.
That's a fact.
So yes, and so I just, I'm going to end by saying that Rita was not a stupid woman. I kind of feel like Rita knew what she was getting into, and after a while she said, "I'm in this. I'm going to deal with it the best way that I can."
Mhm.
And quite frankly, she figured, Bob is, having all of these escapades. Well, I feel emotionally no one's there for me, so I'm going to get my little bit while I can. And I just wanted to end on this one. When he said they were reading the Bible, I was just likening that to he must be Adam and that was the new Eve.
That was too funny.
So that's the only thing I could think he was reading. They had leaves on together. But no, I just really want to thank you, Amuna, personally
Thank
for making people's day. And I've actually gone back and started listening to some of your other stuff.
Oh,
You
thank you.
know, yes, and I really would just ask you, I know you're not into like being, an influencer or anything like that, but since you're so authentic, okay? I really would ask that you start tagging people like, the Oprahs, the Netflixes and things like that, because I honestly think like even your book should be out there. So just wanted to say that and thank you.
So much. Thank you so much, Gail. I'm humbled by that. Thank you for coming on and thank you for sharing your thoughts.
All right. Hope you have a good day.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So yeah, thank everybody for the feedback. Again, as Gail is saying, I've been doing this for a while, and now I guess the time is now. I did a song back in the day with our next youth from Jamaica. LD Anthony Cole, the time is now. And I suppose the time is now when everything is converging. And the message of healing, the message of understanding our history, our family patterns, so that we can build stronger bonds in communities. Marcus Garvey wanted us to build them, but building them on the back of the enslavement experience didn't necessarily make for the strongest building. You understand what I'm saying? And so over the years, I realized that we'll come together and we'll fall apart, and we'll come together and we'll fall apart. Okay, what is that? Why is this? Why is this? And the issue? And usually we're in survival mode, right? We're still in that fight or flight mode. We're just trying to make it from hand to mouth. We're trying to get through life. And so this is causing us to come together, not in this genuinely building space, but in a space where we're using one another to kind of get our needs met. And then when we get to where we're going, when we get to where we're going, we no longer need the person. And this is kind of what we're seeing in certain situations that necessarily wouldn't be. Would Sadella have married Mr. Booker had she not needed papers? So I know a lot of people like to say, well, it happened because it was supposed to happen. We can't go back and change the past. We can't change history, but we can learn from it. And if we don't learn from it, then we're doomed to repeat it. Right. And as Gail just said, you don't need to know the person to live out their same. There's a lot of things that Bob did. Later on, his mother says it. There's that we can see that it's Norval, and he didn't even know the man really, but he manifested his behavior. So let me go through some of these comments here. Why do people still think it's okay to judge women when they sleep around? Okay, that's another subject. Lucy, we gonna have to have that. I mean, it's not the same. You know the song, girl, you can't do what the guys do, no, and still be a lady. It's you, that's it. It's just, it ain't the same. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. It's not the same. Yo, why y'all on that half naked girl on the lap? Yeah, so what I say is, you see when Eve did it at the garden, she did naked. So make we act it out. She ended up pregnant, and Rita said their daughter was born. So why is this baby considered Tacky's child that Bob adopted? I think Rita has two children for Tacky. The first one was the Stephanie, who she didn't first say was Tacky, and then the second one was out the baby that was born after Bob passed. So it's two of them she have. Yeah, she had to compartmentalize her role because that experience, the sheer stress that she and to a certain degree, I thought about it the other day. Rita, to a certain degree, ended up having to leave her children with auntie, with her cousin, with different people, so that she can be on the road to make money, much like Sadella left her children so that she can go and work. And so to a certain degree, they repeated that cycle again. We have J Lo in the building. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good evening.
I wanted to get your idea on something. Something I cannot seem to understand is Rita and Bob fell out, and it looked
Mm-hmm.
like it wasn't going to get back together. She
Mm-hmm.
had Tacky. Tacky was really into her. She seemed to be
Mm-hmm.
really into him. She had a child for him or
Right.
two. Why didn't she just let go? Why do you think she wouldn't just let go of Bob and be with Tacky?
I think, well, based on what she said in the book, later on, she talks about wanting a divorce and him not giving to her. So I don't know what the procedure at that time would have been to justify the divorce, but she's saying that Bob wouldn't let her go essentially. So his
Oh.
possessiveness of her, basically, he didn't want her in that way, but he didn't want anybody else to want her either. So I don't know that it's that she didn't want to be with Taki, because Sadella goes on to say that she was flaunting it. Taki buy her a ring and she was flaunting it, but as to totally separate so she could be with Taki, it may have been a legal issue, possibly.
But you know, people are legally married, but they separate in every other way.
Right.
But she still kind of held on. I don't know if it's because she worked with him and that was her source of income.
Well, she did. And remember, she had an issue. This is why she came to America when she ended up having Steven. She was always concerned about where their income was going to come from. So when the Whalers leave in 73, when Peter and Bunny leaves, going 74, when they're on the tour and they're coming to do the American leg, Bob calls later. No, he gets Joe Higgs and others, but then he revamps the group and now he wants Rita on the road. So that may be another wedge between her and Tacky by making sure that she's on the road so that she doesn't have time to be with him in Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's bad. He wants his cake and eat hers too.
Right, right. Nah, Lego. Because I mean, at the core, he understands who she is, and even, she has been there for him from when he started. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
and she's the mother of most of his children.
yeah.
So she's kind of like the rock. So if he let her go, then who's gonna replace her? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it
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 just felt
mm,
like she didn't love herself enough because she put so much into him and his children, but neglected herself.
I think there may be some truth to that because even she speaks in the book like she's apprehensive, like she's not sure, she's not fully confident in herself, and there may have been some of that going on. But
Hmm.
according to the article, she never back no chat with the Taki situation. It didn't seem like and she regretted it. You know what I mean? She didn't say
Yeah.
that, so that was interesting. And then she came back and had another child for him.
Yeah, after
Yeah,
Bob died, she went back
yeah,
and had
yeah,
another child for him. But
yeah.
was she ever really with him even after Bob died?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if because remember now legal troubles come in. So would it look good for the widow who's fighting for the estate to remarry? Maybe not. So maybe for it's like
Yeah.
if maybe for whatever they needed to do, she couldn't. She had to now
Yeah.
embody this so that she can do what she ultimately did. You know what I mean?
So
Possibly.
then my thought goes to Tacky. Why would you hang on with this woman who's locked into her husband? You know?
That's a question. I don't know that one. Taki never write no book.
Well, we need that. We need that for
Yeah,
sure.
Taki, what the book there? Yeah, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. I really enjoy your readings. I really, really
Thank
do. Thank
you.
you so much for doing this.
You're welcome. You're
You
welcome. You have a
you
good
have a
night.
good evening. You
All
too.
right. I'm gonna read a few more. That was thank you for the caller. Um, I'm gonna read a few more. I think that when Rita wrote the book, she wasn't ready to share that Stephanie wasn't Bob's biological child. It's a possibility because when you look at the sequential order of the book, Don Taylor, I think, writes his book first. And I have the Don Taylor book over there. This book is written, this book is written, I think, '06. No, this book is written '04. Hold on 1 second for me, guys. One second. This book is written. Hold on 1 second. Don't move. Drink liquor tea. I'll be right back. Let me pick up these two books. All right. So I have to pick these books up real quick. So this one is written. This is Sadella's book. I think it was a something that was like one person wrote a book, then another person wrote a book. This was written in 1996, originally published in 1996. Okay, and then later on they're saying that it was then it came back and republished in 2003. So this was original. This is 96. This book is 96. Don Taylor, my goodness, me just start on Don Taylor, but Don Taylor give me a headache because why? Because why? Because why? This book is 94. So you see what I said? And then it reprinted in '01. So this book was first, 94, Don Taylor. Then Sedella came out in 96. And then Rita came out. So now everybody was like, what? You write a book? Me I go write a book too. Rita came out in, when was this first published? 2004. So she came out 10 years later after the Don Taylor book. She came out way later, and then she published this book. So I don't know how far along she was in processing her emotions. And then I actually also have, hold on, I actually also have, what you call this book? But all Kimani is talking about, I didn't really go into all of what Kimani is talking about. I read Kimani's book, and Kimani is just really looking at his experience because he didn't know his dad and the poverty that he experienced and the life of a young boy with no guidance. And it's funny, I said, you know what? I was really supposed to be doing this Bob Marley story because I bought this book used, and then when I opened it, it's a signed autograph copy. So it's like Kimani sign an autograph the copy and whoop it drop it on my lap. I'm gonna say, okay, I'm supposed to read that story. But basically his story is about how he ended up in Miami and the drugs and the gun and the street life because he didn't really know his dad and he didn't really have much guidance. And so for those who just think we over here chatting, we're not. This is a lot of information right here, peoples. It's a lot of information, and we're sourcing through it, and we're learning life lessons. So a win is a win. I'm gonna go down through. I'm gonna try to boogie like around 10 o'clock. If you have anything to say, let me go to the bottom. Let's see here. Blessings. I'm glad you found the channel as well. Yes, it was Peter Tosh who was going to write his own story. Yes, yes, please support the work, support the thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, the thing about singing that always had me is not that I don't like singing. I take my hat off to singers because y'all see that 1 minute I'm doing this and the next minute I'm doing that. But every day they got to sing the same song. That part never appealed to me. I'm like, you got to sing the same song every day, night after night. Redemption. So every night, merciful Father, me have to change the channel. Mm-mm. Wow. Leah says, my mother kept the fact that my great grandmother had 15 children because she didn't want. That's what I'm saying, me to have a bunch of children. They be keeping weird facts. This is the stuff is like, why didn't anybody say something? Why didn't I tell you the story? I have an aunt when we were doing this research, and every time her birthday came around, she felt sad. Instead, she felt sad. She didn't know why she felt sad. My most I breast, my grandmother, she passed on years ago. She was looking for her birth certificate. My aunt was, and she found the birth certificate. And then she found some paperwork. Do you know? She was a twin and didn't know it. My grandmother never told her she was a twin, and the twin didn't make it. So every time her birthday came along, she felt sad and like someone was missing. And all my grandmother would say, usually when she would say, I feel like I'm supposed to have another sibling, she would say, they only gave me one. Shrouded in mystery, they only gave me one. And it's not until she found paperwork after that she realized that she was a twin and one didn't make it. So I'm telling you, man. Ah. Okay, let me see. One at, especially females in relation, Judge Rita, at least she knew most of us never knew till we bitter and feel hurtful. Okay. Yes, definitely. Support the thing, support the thing, support the thing. Yeah, they keep secrets about their life on the island once they leave. That's correct. Even when they get here. Even when they get here or wherever they're going. My only question is, was he worth all of the drama? No one spills tea on Bob's performance off the stage. I don't know. I mean, she's spilling it. She spilled it. They kind of spilled it here and there. They kind of spilled it here and there. Yeah, the trauma bond, actually, I said it before and everybody's like, it's love. They were bonding over their losses, really. And that's what made it so strong. And yet so volatile, right? The relationship was volatile. It was for those around, if they're having these witnessing about how their interaction was, that was toxic. It was negative. It's not something you would want to show children, oh no, we just a box up your mother, and we just a cuss, and we just a fight. That's not something you want to show children. You know what I mean? That so yeah, the relationship was volatile. That means that something was wrong. Something was wrong. Um, I don't know that any of them follow. I did see somebody sent me that Sadella was promoting her mom's book, which is a beautiful thing. I see some other people reading No Woman No Cry on TikTok. Again, a beautiful thing. We out here, we reading, we doing all the things. Thank you so much, Gina. We're out here doing what needs to be done. Because one thing is for somebody to write it, the next thing is for somebody to care enough to read it. And it is in these stories. I'm telling you, my healing really came when I really started reading the stories of those who came before me. And to know, A, you're not alone. People have been through it before you. You honor them by giving their experience airplay. And then by that, you begin to get your own healing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm telling you what I know. I don't know. If Tacky was so great, we don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why again, she may have been. She had bigger work to do. She was fighting from then till now. I don't know why she and Tacky left. We assuming that them did left. Well, that's what she says in the story. She says that actually Sadella says it. We haven't gotten to that part yet. That she denied that for 3 years that the daughter was Bob's, and Bob's is like, how can a man on tour breed you? Because I wasn't here. And then she finally admitted it. And according, I don't want to misquote, but I think they got into some fight in the hotel room. In like, I forgot where they were. They got into a fight because she finally admitted it. That's what Sadella says. All right, let me see. Yeah, he could have once loved her, once upon a time, to the best of his ability. To the best of his ability, or maybe not. We don't know. Yeah, again, he didn't. I don't think he knew that the thing was gonna move so quickly, because maybe he would have written a book, maybe he would have done a movie, maybe he would have done more. But at the time that it happened, he didn't have any more time to do any of those things. All right. All right, we have somebody. Somebody just came in. It says the device is not connected. Then I'm gonna. If you fix it, then I'll. There's no such thing as secret. But the social media generation right now, again, it's yeah. There's no such thing as secret. But there's a difference between researching and sharing in a certain capacity and just like doing the most. You know what I mean? I don't think that some of the stuff that the nowadays generation does, it's not going to age well. Have you done any research on Beverly Kelso? I did see the you know, they were having a celebration for her to honor her, and she started crying because she was like, nobody don't remember her, and she's the original whaler. I did see that. Um, I don't did Rita mention Beverly? Beverly said, I don't know if you guys saw that. She was like, she's the reason that the Marleys is even here because she's the one who introduced Bob to Rita. That's what Beverly said. I don't know. Yeah, she did have a few stories. I heard that. She said that they used to tease her and it was her. So Beverly is telling a different story than Rita's telling, which I also found curious. Yep, I agree. Trauma. This is what the more we understand it, the emotional trauma, the psychological trauma, the spiritual trauma, the more that we understand it is the more we can work through it. There's a lot of times, like I said, we want to turn our head. We don't want to look at it. It's so painful. When I really started reading these what the trauma was, which was when the family was breaking up, when we the people was taken from the continent, thrown into diaspora, forcefully oppressed, right? Old pirates, yes, they rabbi. When that trauma, there was so many things that was affected that it could just kept going down the line. Our economics was affected. Our labor was stolen. Our relationships were broken. Our trust was broken. Our community was broken, right? And so then we tried to patchwork it together, but under the construct of enslavement, which is what after post enslavement is what kind of went on even to onto this day. So to say that the answer is not in understanding in what ways were we broken. The fact that Sadella had to leave, it was because the male did not have gainful employment enough to manage to take care of them. So she felt as the woman, she had to move out of her feminine role to go and earn a living or to get someone else who would be able to take care of she and her family. You know what I mean? So that is an extension of the man not being able to financially at that time show up for the women, but at the same time wanting to be fruitful and multiply, wanting to go to the book of Genesis and seed up the earth. You don't know? So it created an issue to fight this thing. Please. Yeah, man, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Sometimes I forget. And that's what I want to say. At the end of the day, I agree. He was human. And that's what some of this idol worship has done in this of him and others is it takes away their humanity. Because now we don't want to see the human side of the person. Therefore, again, like I said, we can't learn the lesson. You know what? It was disheartening. There is a YouTuber, and shout out to him. He's from the continent. He's from Africa. He's from Ghana specifically. And his name is Watamaya, right? And he goes, first he went all around the continent to show unity. He looks just like Marcus Garvey, by the way, to show unity. And let me know if you guys have seen Watamaya on the internet. He goes all over to show the connection between all of the different tribes, all of the different African people. He went to the Caribbean, he went to Suriname, he went to Guyana, he went to Trinidad. He comes to Jamaica. For some reason, when he comes to Jamaica, he's there for a while. He's not usually in these places for this long. He comes to Jamaica. Yeah. And he's traveling all around the island. He visits everybody. He visits the Rasta, the Maroons, everywhere. And he goes to St. Anne and he goes to Marcus Garvey's birthplace. That's supposed to be a historic landmark. And the place is in disrepair. He didn't expect to see the place in disrepair, but when he got there, he had his video camera. So he showed I felt a kind of way. Not that he did that, but that by how, on one hand, yes, this person did all of these things. And we kind of like depend on how much energy we're going to give it. The man who was there was saying, you know what, we can't do anything because it belongs to the government. And so we can't personally fix it. And the place is in total disrepair. Right? But if it's beneficial to us, then we give it attention. But again, Bob Marley was looking to a Marcus Garvey. So Bob Marley is preserved, but Marcus Garvey's certain aspects of what he is not preserved. I'm not saying, my point is, I don't think we should make idols of people. Right? People came and they have messages and they have things that they're supposed to share. We have things that we're supposed to do in the earth, gifts and talents that we're supposed to, but we're not supposed to make these images in our minds and our thought processes of these people, because then it becomes a stumbling block. And that's what we see for many people. Rowan Marley posts Lauryn Hill. I hope we discuss Lauryn Hill with the Brazilian. I saw that. I don't know. Yeah, I see Rowan. Rowan is interesting. His laugh is infectious. He's quite interesting. The main fact that messes up love with sexual connections that we all can change our fine and emotions. Well, yeah. But then is it love? Is it love? Is it love? That's another question we can talk about. Oh, you said wrong chat? All right, then, Prudent Mom. Work tomorrow. Y'all know I'm a boogie down. Let me see here. I'm a boogie down in a second. Shout out to everybody who's just joined us. And if you missed the beginning of it and you missed the presentation, no problem. You're going to get the presentation once I click out. He had a possessive love, much like Norval. Well, in the sense of, well, Norval, let me not go back into Norval. Big up from St. Anne. All right, all right, all right. So, yeah, the YouTuber, he does look like Marcus Garvey. He really does. Okay, no love. I think I'm gonna end on this note. This is interesting. You said, I had to check myself a few times. Bad talk about Bob was pissing her off. I had to realize he was human. Great, wonderful, awesome, yet human. It's not to tear anybody down. It's not to do any of those things. Human. If we don't walk away, we are having a human experience. Good, bad, and indifferent. No need to idolize anybody. Right. Yep, we cannot idolize man. Who can? Uh oh. I missed something. What happened in here? So, with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, this book was a little difficult to find, and the read was like Kimani just kept saying the same thing. I'm gonna do a quick review. He kept saying the same thing over and over, and I know that's probably where he's stuck in his experience. Marley and me, I'm quarter of a way through, and he's misquoting a lot of things straight off the bat. And he gonna say the real story. I think this is an interesting guy. Sadella, of all of the first-hand accounts, Sadella's account is quite interesting. I like the way Sadella's book was written. Her book was written by Anthony C. Winkler. If it's available on Amazon or some used bookstore, check this one out so we can all be on the same page. And Rita's book is a good read. You know, it's a quick read. It's a good read. And you can put all the pieces together like we're doing. Red Peter Tosh book would refer to her as an ugly, dark-skinned girl and a monkey and laugh at her when she would stand in her doorway and wave at people walking past her aunt's house. And again, Peter was also dark. So to refer, it's like not wanting to see yourself in other people. Because if you're describing her like that, then what did you think of yourself? You know what I mean? And again, that's the vestiges of enslavement experience. So with that said, that's for another day. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Everybody have a blessed night. I got my bed early to the people. Early, early, early. All right. Let me go ahead and play one more island love situation. And then we're gonna boogie. Oh no, let me play the pumpkin seed one. Listener, all of this jokes and reading got me feeling a little hungry. Do you guys come with your snacks ready, or do you think it's time for an ital food break? The Russ and him Empress say, yeah, ital food break. So listener, this is Imuna, and not only do I read and write novels, I also do a little something. Well, a kind of big something in the kitchen, right? So I wrote this amazing Hey Pumpkin cookbook. Inside, pumpkin seed milk, carrot punch, smoothie, listener, even jerk tofu strips. But the tofu is made from pumpkin seeds. So join me on a culinary adventure with the pumpkin seed as we explore the benefits of this green superfood. You already know potassium, zinc, it is loaded and highly beneficial. Again, a high source of iron, zinc, magnesium, vitamin E, and it helps boost the immune system. This book, as well as Island Twist, is available on Amazon today. So go on over and let's get back to the story. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not so secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel, Island Twist, over on Amazon today. Now back to the story.